The average American household has around $8,000 in a savings account right now. And statistically, most of them are getting poorer every single year. Not because they're irresponsible, not because they don't try, because saving money exactly the way they were taught is a trap. And in the next 10 minutes, I'm going to show you exactly how it works against you. Here's the thing, you were handed one financial rule growing up, maybe from your parents, maybe from a teacher, maybe just absorbed from culture. The rule was spend less than you earn, save the rest, repeat, and honestly, it's not bad advice for 1975. But the system you're living in now has changed in ways that make that rule, followed, exactly as taught, quietly destroy your financial future. This isn't about you being lazy or bad at math or lacking discipline. It's about the fact that the rules changed, nobody updated the playbook, and the gap between people who know the new rules and people still following the old ones keeps getting wider every year. You're here because you already sense something is off. Let's name it. So, what actually happens when you save money? You put it in a savings account, let's say a pretty decent high-yield one, 4.5% APY, right now, which is actually better than it's been in years. Sounds fine, but here's what you're not told. Inflation has averaged somewhere between 3 and 4% over the last several decades. Some years it spikes way higher. Remember 2022, north of 8%. What that means in real terms. In a normal year, your safe savings are barely keeping up. In a bad year, they're losing ground fast. The money sits there, looks bigger on paper, feels responsible, and is silently shrinking in purchasing power every single month. And in a minute, I'll show you the specific mindset shift that turns this around. But first, we need to go deeper on why this keeps happening to smart people. There's a psychological reason saving feels so virtuous. And it's actually the problem. When you save money, you feel in control, you feel responsible, you feel safe. And those feelings are real. But feelings aren't math. The savings account was designed for one purpose: emergency liquidity. 3 to 6 months of expenses, available fast, not touched, done. That's it, that's the job. But what most people do, and what the financial industry quietly encourages, is to treat savings like a default parking spot for all extra money. Because a savings account is simple, it feels safe, and banks profit from it. The problem is this: money sitting still in a low-growth vehicle while the cost of everything around it increases isn't neutral, it's losing. And this is where most people stop thinking critically, because saving feels like you're doing something, and doing something feels better than the anxiety of trying to understand what else you could do. So the savings account becomes a psychological comfort object, not a financial tool. Here's what the average disciplined person does with their money. They get paid, they spend on necessities, maybe they follow a budget, they put whatever's left into savings, and then they wait. For what? They're not totally sure. Maybe a house someday, maybe retirement, maybe just the vague feeling that having money saved equals being okay. The mistake isn't that they save. The mistake is that they've confused wealth preservation with wealth building. Savings preserves what you have, barely. Wealth building multiplies what you have. And these are not the same thing, not even close. The people building real wealth aren't saving more, they're parking less. They keep a real emergency fund, yes, but every dollar beyond that, they put it to work, in assets, in income-producing things, in things that grow faster than inflation by design. And in a minute, I'll tell you exactly what that shift looks like practically, even if you're not starting with a lot. Here's the thing nobody wants to say out loud because it sounds reckless. The safest thing you can do with money, long-term, is not save it. It's understand what risk actually means. Most people think risk means I might lose money, and that's part of it. But there's another kind of risk nobody talks about, the risk of not growing. If your money grows at 4.5% and everything around you grows at 4%, you're barely breaking even. Statistically, you're losing ground because wage growth, housing costs, healthcare, these aren't going up at a flat 4%. For your demographic in your city with your lifestyle, the real number is almost certainly higher. So safe savings is risk, just the boring kind nobody panics about. The shift isn't stop saving and gamble. The shift is understand that every dollar has a job, and the savings account is entry-level employment for your money. It should be a temporary stop, not a final destination. Wealth is built when your money works in tiers. Tier 1, liquid emergency fund. That's the savings account. Tier 2, inflation-beating assets, index funds, real estate, things that grow with or faster than the economy over time. Tier 3, active income streams that don't depend entirely on you trading time for money. Most people never build Tier 2, almost nobody builds Tier 3, not because they can't, because nobody explained tiers to them. They were just told, save money, which is Tier 1, and then they stop. So what does this actually look like? Step 1. Define your real emergency fund number. not a vague "I should have more saved." An actual number, 3 to 6 months of your actual monthly expenses. That number lives in a savings account. Done. Don't touch it. Don't grow it beyond that. Everything else, every dollar beyond that number, you should have a different job. This doesn't mean you need to become a day trader or a landlord or learn crypto. It means you stop letting extra money pile up in an account that makes you feel safe, but isn't actually making you less financially vulnerable over time. The simplest version of Tier 2 that's accessible to almost everyone: broad-based index investing, low cost, long time horizon, no active management needed. You contribute consistently, you don't watch it every day, you let time and compounding do the thing that savings accounts literally cannot do for you. The number that gets people, over a long enough horizon, the difference between money. Sitting in savings versus money invested in a broad market index isn't 10% better, it's historically more like 300 to 400% better. The cost of staying in Tier 1 forever isn't small, it's the entire gap between you and actual financial security. If this reframes something for you, the idea that the cautious move might be the most expensive move, there's a follow-up question worth sitting with. Why does nobody teach this in school? The answer is more interesting and more uncomfortable than you'd expect. That's the next video. Drop a comment with one word. What does money feel like to you right now? Safe, stressed, stuck? I'm genuinely curious what word comes up.